sit back, relax, and turn on your Tell Me Vision. Bartles and Jaymes. If you were around in the 1980s and watched TV during prime time, you knew Bartles and Jaymes. They were the amiable old guys who peddled wine coolers in a variety of interesting ways. Thank you for your support. These commercials were a hit, but it may surprise people to know that Bartles and Jaymes, the guys, didn't really exist. At least, not in the way a lot of people thought at the time. The guys were actors, and they didn't really make their own wine coolers. Nor did they do the crazy things they did to promote them. Bartles and Jaymes was simply the name of a brand of wine coolers, introduced by the Ernest and Julio Gallo Winery in 1985. A knockout marketing campaign had to be created to successfully promote the beverage. The safe bet would have been to show sexy young people partying at a beach or whatnot, since wine coolers generally appealed to college kids. Maybe play some hip music of the day in the background. Advertising executive Hal Riney had a different idea about things. He thought, why not make it two old guys in a rural setting begging people to help them out by buying their product? The idea almost didn't go over with the Gallo Company. Bartles and Jaymes wasn't aimed at old people. How would anyone under 60 like these commercials or buy the wine coolers because of them? Hal had to do some slick talking, but they gave his idea a chance, and it made the brand. The biggest reason the commercials became an instant hit would be because of the actors. David Ruffcar played Frank Bartles, the portly one with glasses who talked. Dick Mogg played Ed Jaymes, the skinny one who didn't talk, who was always doing things. Neither one had been an actor before their first commercial, but talent is talent, and they knocked it out of the park. David was an Air Force veteran and cattle rancher from Redmond, Oregon. He got hired through a talent search. Dick was a general contractor from Santa Rosa, California. The characters were modeled after the Gallo brothers, at least in physical resemblance. I would have to say that some of the influence had to come from the Newhart sitcom, by way of the characters Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. Larry, Daryl, and Daryl were country bumpkins in Vermont who always did the most unusual things. Only Larry talked, while the other brothers remained silent. It was often indicated that they had more intelligence than their appearance let on. At least some of the qualities of this terrific trio led to the creation of Bartles and Jaymes. To a lesser, but still important degree, the character of Ernest P. Worrell had to be an influence. Ernest was created in 1980 and was originally a character that promoted various products on TV commercials. In 1987 and throughout the 90s, he would star in a successful series of movies. Jim Varney played Ernest, a fast-talking, rubber-faced Southern guy who talked to the camera and often to Vern, a person we never saw. Ernest did a ton of local TV commercials in the South, but he also did some national commercials for the Coca-Cola Company, Chex Cereal, and Taco John's. Ernest's commercials were a bit more manic, while Bartles and Jaymes were laid back, but the idea of being folksy was still there. Ernest wasn't an old guy, but he wasn't young and hip either, and his commercials had been successful. So I think this was another idea why the Bartles and Jaymes commercial campaign got the green light. Many times, Bartles and Jaymes are sitting on a porch. Bartles is telling you about one of their products, while Jaymes is doing something, anything. The commercial ends with a variation of, "We thank you for your support." When the commercial started, many people thought these guys were for real and sent money to them. A lot of money. After all, Ed had a balloon payment. Some people really thought these old guys were hard up for money, desperately selling wine coolers. The money was later donated to charity. That's how real they seemed. The commercials were always played up for comedy, so it's hard to believe anyone was fooled, but it happened just the same. The commercials only got wackier as time went on. Ed would be flying a blimp or conducting a band. The sky was literally the limit. And still, they never lost their laid-back charm. Bartles and Jaymes weren't cutting edge. They didn't try to be cool. Yet some of their biggest fans were the 20-somethings few people besides Hal Riney believed would buy the drinks. I was a little kid at the time. My parents were in their later 30s. My grandparents were in their 60s. All of us loved these humorous commercials at the time, and I know it was that way for a lot of people. Did the Bartles and Jaymes guys actually like the product? David, who played Bartles, was given one at a publicity party sometime after the commercial started. His response? It was alright. Hey, loving the product you pitch has never been a requirement. The commercials were like little comedy shows, and there were a lot of them. Everyone wanted them to go on forever, but given the ages of the actors, we all knew it was an impossibility. In 1991, the commercials ended. A part of the reason was that, in this year, the company switched from making wine-based coolers to malt-based coolers. The federal excise tax on wine had been raised, and it would have priced Bartles and Jaymes out of the market. It wouldn't be until 2019 that some of their products once again became wine-based. It's hard for me to believe, since I was around when this started, that all the key players have been long dead. David Ruffcar, who played Frank Bartles, the one who talked, died in 1996 of a heart attack. Dick Mogg, who played Ed Jaymes, died much later of cancer in 2015. Hal Riney, the man who started it all, died in 2008 of cancer. The Gallo brothers, who were quite old at the time, have both died. Julio died in 1993 from a car accident. Ernest died in 2007 at the age of 97. I'm not gonna lie, I miss these commercials. A lot of people do. I've often thought the company should rerun these commercials, somehow adapting them to fit their products today. Or they could recast the characters, explaining that the new guys were the sons of the originals. These were friendly, funny commercials that weren't in your face, and they weren't trying to be trendy. It's because of what they were that makes them timeless. The Bartles and Jaymes commercials left their mark on TV audiences and helped establish a popular brand of drinks that is still around today. Frank Bartles and Ed Jaymes belong in the wonderful world of television.